Dear friends of the Global Prayer Call, this is my first Friday video for March 2017. And I want to start reading a few verses from the Psalm 2. Why do the nations conspire? And why do the peoples plot in vain? And the kings of the earth take their stand, and the rulers gather together against the Lord and against his anointed one. Let us break their chains, they say, and throw off their fetters. But the one on the throne, he laughs. The Lord scoffs at them, and then he rebukes them in his anger and terrifies them in his wrath, saying, I have installed my king on Zion, my holy hill. These are amazing verses, and we are living in amazing times. As far as Israel and the geopolitical situation is concerned, we see major shifts and changes. The most important one has to do with President Trump being president of the United States now, and he has been for a few weeks. And one of the first visitors of head of states coming to Washington was Prime Minister Netanyahu from Israel. And it was a very substantial, a very warm connection. These men have known each other for many years. It was quite obvious, if you looked at the press conference, for example, that they have a chemistry that works together. So with President Trump and observing him from a European mentality and perspective, he sometimes seems quite rough and not easy to absorb in a way. But as it comes to Israel, I would say you have to appreciate his convictions and his courage. This also was shown, the change of that connection and of that position of the United States of America was clearly shown by the new UN ambassador of the United States, a lady called Nikki Haley. And I've seen her video, her message to the Security Council of the US, and the first message she gave to them, and it was amazing. You may watch it if you have the access. We have put it on our GPC website, on our blog, and you may watch it there if you want. It's only 6 minutes or so, but a powerful change of position compared to between the Obama administration and the Trump administration. And I would say clearly for the benefit of Israel. Yes, Trump, he has a kind of a polarization approach to many questions, including Israel and the Middle East policy. But from my perspective, I would say that's obviously very needed. It helps nations to cut through the deception. It helps leaders of nations to find a position either in one direction, which is represented by the Muslim bloc of the United Nations and their influence on the one hand, and now by United States and what Trump represents with regard to Israel and the Middle East. So it is much easier now to find a position and to take a decision for those who stand or sit on the fence. And I think that is a good thing. It's a progress, something we can pray into. We can pray for President Trump. We can pray for Prime Minister Netanyahu as far as their relationship and cooperation is concerned. They have to have courage, yes, but they have to have wisdom at the same time and soberness and prudence at the same time. So pray for both, for the courage to take strong decisions on the one hand, but also for wisdom and prudence in timing, in communication, and in management of the process that goes with it. So that's my prayer point number one. And please pray for this lady, for Nikki Haley, as she is finding her way into her responsibility and into her position. Then we may say that our nations and our leaders are now in a new situation. They can find and have to find their way in how to position themselves, be it in the international gremia like United Nations, or for me as a German citizen of the European Parliament and the European institutions. So we have to find our way. We are challenged, and in a way it is a kind of decision time. It's a kind of prelude to the valley of decision ahead of us. How do we take our positions? It's a new chance. It's a new opportunity. Please pray for the two men the leaders of states, Trump and Netanyahu, but also for our leaders, as we have to reconsider some position, which is an opportunity, which is a chance that we make use of. Well, if you look at the travels of Netanyahu in recent weeks, we may appreciate his visit to Singapore, we may appreciate his visit to Australia. I think both of them have been good and very friendly visits. We see nations around the world finding a new connection to Israel, and as far as that is concerned, to Netanyahu. Some of the Asian nations, many of the African nations, some of the South American, Middle American nations, they are aligning themselves in a new way. It's something we should pray into. It's an opportunity. If we look at Jerusalem, Jerusalem will be much more a point of debate, so let it be for us a point of prayer. How do we position ourselves concerning Jerusalem, our nations, our leaders, and even the Christian church? How do we position ourselves with regard to the Temple Mount? So I've been in Jerusalem last week. I will go to Jerusalem next week. Please pray for the Global Prayer Call, the preparations for the conference and for the tour. It's coming together in a wonderful way in many respects. I had a very interesting visit with one of the members of the City Council of Jerusalem talking about the March of Solidarity. I had a very good visit with the leader of the Christian Allies Caucus of the Knesset. We had a very productive discussion. And so the Lord is brooding over Jerusalem. It's the 50th anniversary. It's the year of Jubilee. The spiritual climate with regard to Jerusalem is in a very dynamic and volatile position in many ways. We had a beautiful video clip made with Rick Ridings, the founder and leader of the prayer house of Sukkot Hallel, close to Mount Zion and the Temple Mount. So things are on the move, and I invite you and ask you, please pray. Pray for the political situations as I described them, pray for me, and pray for the Global Prayer Call, and pray for the preparations of the conference and of the tour. And again, I want to invite you warmly. And finally, I want to mention two other points of prayer. Please pray for the forum, the Conference of Christians for Israel International. That's next week. That's why I'm back again. It's a very important meeting for Christians for Israel. And also pray for the European Coalition for Israel and our prayer summit, our prayer conference in Brussels, late March, early April. I'm still warmly connected to all those ministries. I still have a part and a contribution in relation with them. And so I ask you for your prayers, and consider coming to Jerusalem in May for our conference and for our tour. Thank you for your attention. May you have a blessed month of March.